So Napheesa Collier is one of the best female basketball players in the world. Look, if you don't have A'ja Wilson as MVP, you've probably got Collier as MVP. Like, that is how good she's been. She's been so good that A'ja Wilson will probably not be unanimous this year. That is how good Collier has been this season. But she's after picking up a foot injury, and it seems to be a little bit more serious than I initially thought. Before we get on to things, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We are trying to hit 18.6k by the end of the day, and we are 4 off currently. So, the thing with Napheesa Collier is she's obviously on Team USA. And it does seem like there is a chance that she could end up missing the Olympic Games. And it says here, a member of US Olympic basketball team left Thursday night's loss with an injury to her left foot. So, it says she suffered a non-contact injury about 2.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. She did not return. So, apparently she has plantar fasciitis. And the problem with that type of an injury is that you're going to be dealing with it for years. And it could be anywhere from a little bit of pain that you can play through. But it also could be an issue where it's like you're at risk of a collapsed arch, a more serious injury. And if you get the more serious injury, you could be out for a long, long time. So it says here, no specific timetables. Cheryl Reeve, like the coach of the Lynx is the coach of the Olympic team, said a potential return will be weighed against guarding her readiness for the Olympics. So her coach cares more about the Olympics than the Lynx. So she's not going to risk bringing her back. It says here, it's best for us to kind of take it day by day. There's no way I'm going to sit here and say we aren't considering that. I think if her coach wasn't the Olympics coach and they were paying her, she probably would be almost playing. But it says here they got 4 games left before the Olympic break. And then they have a couple of days break before the Olympics. So the Olympics is obviously the biggest tournament for them. It's her first time on Team USA. Like, look, she's 27. She's a week older than myself. So she's kind of probably almost in her prime. Like, there's no guarantee that she's going to be on the next Olympic team. It says she's dealt with it since her college career at UConn. She limped off the court feeling discomfort in her foot with 2 minutes left in the third. She was on the bench, and she was on the bench to streak close to her games. So that is really, really that is a horrible one because, look, she was potentially going to be a starter for this team. Probably not. But if you were to say that she was a starter, it wouldn't be a crazy take. And that wouldn't be a crazy take to say she's probably a starter. But again, if we look at this team, we look at that team. So you've got obviously A'ja Wilson, who's going to be a guaranteed starter. Breanna Stewart's going to be a starter. The only real point guard is Chelsea Gray, who's probably going to start. Who shouldn't be on the team. So if you're looking at what they take out, if she ends up missing the Olympics, who ends up taking that spot? Because she is a power forward, but she's like 6 foot tall, 6'1". So you've got your point guard in Chelsea Gray. At the 4 position, you've got Alyssa Thomas, you've got A'ja Wilson, you've got Breanna Stewart. So you've got 3 players at that 4 position, and you're going to probably have to play A'ja quite a lot at the 5 because your only true center is Brittany Griner. So if you're looking at losing Collier, so Collier is going to be that 4-3 position, and you're looking at the rest of the team. It's a lot of 2 guards. Like whether it's Jewel Lloyd, Sabrina Ionescu, Kelsey Plum, and Kat Copper, they all do the same thing. And Diana Taurasi, they're all shooting guards. They're all score first 2 guards. So bringing those 5 similar, not even similar type players, just similar position players. And I know obviously Kat Copper and Ionescu Taurasi playing the same team. So Copper can play the 3. So if she's out, who do they look to bring? Like, who would they look to bring? And I think there are 3 choices really that they can make. And there's one player that I would say is more, they're more likely to bring than anyone else. And Bree Jones has been in that conversation. I think she is one of the official reserves. She was in that squad, and she's going to be a player that can play the 5. So if you bring Bree Jones, you've got someone other than Breanna Stewart, other than Brittany Griner, who is an actual center. So I think that could work. And then there are two other players, and it's the two fever players. It is Caitlin Clark and it's Aaliyah Boston. So it's like, do you just bite the bullet and bring Caitlin Clark at this stage? Again, that's the only reason you would bring Caitlin Clark, is if you're like, you know what, we screwed up. Like, the team needs a center and the team needs a point guard. Ideally, like, you would have hoped that if one of them something was to happen, it would be to a two guard. Obviously, touch wood, you don't want anyone to get hurt. But as far as fit for the team. But you've got to bring, like, they both fill a need. And I think Aaliyah Boston have been playing really well for Team USA. She's starting to play, get back to her best. So I do think over Bree Jones, you'd be more likely to see an Aaliyah Boston get a call up. But it's like, it's a team that doesn't have point guards and they don't have centers. But the only thing is that you can probably play Jackie Young as a makeshift point guard. We saw the Aces weren't very good, but she could probably do that. You could play Sabrina Ionescu at the 1 if you're stuck. Whereas you can't really play Breanna Stewart at the 5. You can't. Can you play Alyssa Thomas at the 5? Maybe. Maybe probably not. So, if I was to give my prediction, if she does end up missing the Olympics, I actually don't think she will. I think they're being cautious about her. I think the reason they're being so cautious about her is because her coach is the Olympics coach. I think if her coach wasn't the Olympics coach, not that she'd be playing these games, but I think she would play before the Olympics. But again, I could see if she ends up having to pull out, I could see Aaliyah Boston being the most likely call up. And then maybe Clark, because they do need a point guard. They need a point guard. So when we're looking at obviously Collier, Clark being that type of player, it's like, I think it's really, really hard to go out there and say, yeah, we're going to take her. I think it's going to be really hard to say that because of what they're missing. Like, this is not that it's not a well-constructed roster. It's a weirdly constructed roster. Again, you have 5 players do the same thing. Like score first wings. Heck, Jackie Young's in that as well. Sorry, 6. Score first 2 guards. You have 6 of them on the team. But yeah, so it would be a huge loss for Team USA for Collier. Collier is one of their best players. That's a massive, massive loss. And look, whether it's Clark, if she's out, whether it's Clark, Boston, or Bree Jones, I don't see it being an Ariel Atkins because there's no point bringing another 2 guard. It really doesn't matter because none of them are as good as Fee Collier. None of them are. But for those people who are banking on Clark being an Olympian, this is probably her last chance. I don't think they do it. And I think if you're Caitlin Clark yourself, you're probably happy about getting a rest, to be honest. But I do think that if there is any slight chance of her going and making the Olympic team, this is probably the last opportunity. But at the end of the day, I hope that's not the case. I hope that she's not out for the Olympics, and I hope that Collier goes and plays for Team USA, because as one of the 5 best players in this league, 1,000,000% deserves it. 1,000,000%. Whatever you want to say about Taurasi going to a 6th Olympics, whatever you want to say about some of the players where you're like Jewel Lloyd hasn't been that good this year, neither is Kelsey Plummet until the last couple of games. Unless you want to make those arguments. Heck, Chelsea Gray not being ready. There are definitely players where you're like, maybe they shouldn't have made the team. She's not one of them. She is one of the first 4 or 5 names on the team sheet, and you know what, could definitely be a starter. So hopefully, touch wood, she's healthy for the Olympics. And yeah, see you lads.